I've met who's said it. Some people just haven't searched for anything yet, but that's okay. Okay, so everyone except for AntKit is a little bit vague, and that's okay. So how does this personalized PageRank work? So it's going to use the similar trick here, right? So you're going to have qi plus 1 is 1 minus beta. You know, you're still going to have this regular part here, but then you're going to have your personal vector here. So V now is your personal preference vector. Okay, so they're somehow going to build this based on what pages you've been to in the past. They can somehow establish your browsing history, or they can know what you search for. All your Google accounts are linked. They have your Gmail account. They build some profile about you, and then they will somehow assign you some pages they think are more interesting to you. So for me, you know, anything with cs.utah.edu is probably has a very high component in my personal preference. They can look through your email, they can look at your Google Plus account, they can build a profile of you, and that goes into here, and somehow that improves your search results. Then they can plug it in here and build your search and improve your search results. Very quickly, there's a problem with this. They can't just do this. Why can't they run this with your own personal preference vector here?
Sometimes you...
The preferences change all the time.
Changes, that's pretty static. It doesn't really change.
But sometimes you don't want it to be personalized. Right?
Yeah, you can try and spoof it, but then that's your own fault.
Yeah.
The problem is, this process is a massive thing. Doing this iteration with P takes a lot of work. I can't do this for everyone individually. It's too infeasible. The point of PageRank was that you used it once for all searches, for all people. You can't recompute this for each of your users. Okay, so what you do is you take, you create this basis space, V, which is basically the concatenation of everyone's personal PageRank vectors. Maybe not everyone's, but enough people's. They take this, they get some decomposition, BK, based on the SVD of V. So they find like the top K components of the right singular values, or you know, they do PCA by taking the SVD of this basis of these personal PageRank vectors, find the most important components, and they take some limited number of these, so maybe 1,000 of these, and then they'll maybe 100, and then they rerun this with each of these basis vectors. And then there's some trick that essentially allows you to reconstruct your Q star based on the Q stars of each of these basis vectors. I don't entirely understand the process. And maybe you can take a linear combination of them, and that works okay based on the way these bases kind of give a linear combination of your PageRank vector, and it's basically, so the U is going to be, there's some alpha, so you can write yours as this. If you expanded this basis out to D, you would represent it exactly where this is a coefficient. And then you can recompute a Q star for each of these, Q star 1 up to Q star K, and then you can write your Q star for U is equal to the sum equals 1 to K of alpha I of Q star I. And I think the reconstruction may be a bit more complicated than this, but this is kind of a rough idea of how you can do it. So this is kind of how you do this personalized PageRank for all these different personal vectors without having the computation be too hard. Okay, so cool. So reminder, class will not be here on Wednesday. It'll be either in 3105 at MED, or hopefully I'll figure out how to put it on the Hill, and I'll send out something on the discussion group. So look on the discussion group.